But you know, I've heard a lot of reggae music that talks about back to Africa, but you are actually working with some artists from out of Africa.
I've done like collaborated with about 4 different African groups now.
Okay. Did you have the opportunity to travel to the motherland?
Yeah, man.
Alright.
Been there.
What was that first visit to Africa like?
Well, the earth is allowed and the fullness thereof, right? And there's beauty everywhere, and I was really overwhelmed in seeing a particular tree which I saw, right, called the baobab. Which this baobab is like, lives between 20,000 and 30,000 years. So just to have been there, seeing a tree that lived, I mean, the California redwoods, lived like a fifth of the time. One tree, 20,000 years old, 30,000 years old. Unbelievable, right? Africa was great.
Africa was great.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Now, as we sit and reason here, I said tonight was a special night. We are being joined right now by a living legend in Jamaican music. I'm talking about the one Monty Alexander, fresh off of the stage at the Blue Note. People, give it up for Monty Alexander, live inside Radio Lily.
Hello everybody.
A man of his word just walked off the stage at the Blue Note.
Yeah man, a word is a thing, you have to hold on to it.
Good gosh.
The word.
Now, how was the first show? Because I know this is a 2-week engagement at the Blue Note.
Right.
Monty Alexander the Great and friends.
Well, tonight the kickoff was leaving out of Kingston, Jamaica and heading to America. So tomorrow night we start heading uptown to Harlem. And I have my jazz friends, after being in America, these to this retrospective.
Into retrospective.
My 50th year of being a professional in America.
50 years.
50 years.
So you're just getting warm, in other words.
Getting warm.
Yes.
So tonight was in Jamaica, and my dear brother, I know him from I was 11 years old, Mr. Ernie Ranglin, and he came and honored us with his presence and just played the guitar. Man, you should have heard it.
He did what he does.
He did what he does, yes.
My gosh.
More.
Now this year, after 50 years, you received a Grammy nomination for your album.
That's right.
Now tell people the title of the album so they could go out and pick that up.
Call him Kingston Express.
Alright.
I named that kid because, you know, I honor also my jazz heroes, which is Duke Ellington. The great Duke.
Alright.
You know, and all those men, Charlie Parker and John Coltrane, those people. And I bring that part of my music life.
Can we have silence? Can we have silence in the room, please? Serious reason is going on inside here. RadioLily.com is full of buzz and excitement. Now, when we talk about the jazz greats such as Duke Ellington, Charlie Parker, what is the connection between reggae and Jamaican music and jazz music?
Well, I guess I am a kind of a bridge. I bridge the two because why? They're both more beautiful than each other.
Sing.
Ah, great.
They're more beautiful than each other. And the men and the people, and I had the thrill of being with and knowing in Jamaica and playing the music for Cox and Dodd, for Duke Reed, for a lot of those guys at the dawn of this whole incredible thing where Jamaica touched the world.
Okay.
And I saw it, and I came to America while I was in America looking out for Dizzy Gillespie and Miles Davis and these people. My Jamaican strong root was always beckoning to me. And the connection is love, one love. And it's the people that come together. And I witness it every night on the bandstand because half of the musicians with me are American brothers.
Okay.
And the other guys are Jamaica, all Jamaica. And I invite them, and there's a beautiful celebration of 2 different worlds of people interacting with such respect. And I'm like the captain on the bridge, so to speak.
So to speak. Now you're going to be joined by a lot of your musical brethren and sisters during these 2 weeks, which I believe are fully sold out at this point, right?
Well, it's looking good. I haven't really checked the numbers, but it looks good. Tonight, the first set was sold out. Completely. We have another one. When I leave back, I go back over there and try again.
All right. Can we just get a quick preview of some of the talents who will be joining you on stage at New York's Blue Note?
Okay. Well, tomorrow night, 2 young musicians who are total geniuses. You know, I played and did a lot of music with the great Ray Brown of jazz.
Okay.
And Herb Ellis. These men were with Oscar Peterson, and we made a lot of records together. I mean, those guys, the truth is, they used to like try to talk like a Jamaican, you know, have fun with me, and they didn't really know about Jamaica, but I would bring my music with them, and we shared a very fine friendship. And that was Ray passed away 10 years ago. Herb Ellis, the guitarist, died about 2-3 years ago. And then Russell Malone, this bad guitar player.
Yeah.
He's going to be with me the next 2 nights, and he was on the last record Ray Brown made. And Christian McBride is the king of bass today, and he's like a son of Ray Brown. I mean, he's just the great. And then the following night, I have my trio will be there, and my guest is this, I call him the king of the B3 Hammond organ, is Dr. Lonnie Smith, who is dangerous man. And then the next night, a guitarist who people just think the world of, Mr. Pat Martino. So he and George Benson interacted even in the 60s, and he's that kind of guitar player. So we're going to have a real great jazz evening with the trio. Then come now, I call it a jazz tribute to Trinidad, because during the 70s and 80s I had a band called the Ivory and Steel, which was the steel drum, but it was bebop, it was jazz, but Trinidad, because I grew up loving Kitchen and Sparrow.
Okay.
So we brought that into the mix. And we're going to celebrate it. We call it a jazz tribute to Trinidad. We send the word out for those people, because I feel like I'm a bridge, because I love all music. It's all good to me, you know. Polka music, cowboy music, everything. In fact, if you listen to reggae, I used to be in the studio hanging out with Roland Alfonso and Don Drummond and all those guys, and they would be talking about, did you see the picture show on Saturday? When the cowboy was behind the rock and the bad guy was coming on the horse and all that, Gene Autry and Roy Rogers. And I will tell you right now, I tell you, you see people that soul people struggling in certain ways, when they take anything and make it art, culture, and they took even the cowboy music and say, it's the horse, that's the horse. Then when you get to gallop, you see. So it don't matter, it's like the steel drum in Trinidad was some old oil drum the people leave on the road. Throw it away. But the people of the culture there said, we're going to make music out of this thing. And they took the steel drum. It's the same thing where it's like saltfish and ackee. Catfish is something that rich people throw away.
Okay.
That's how I see it.
And it becomes a worldwide delicacy in the hands of the right chef.
Right.
That's it.
And then the final night of the jazz week, then I have, I call it Night at Gillies, where I used to play. And a great experience when I came to New York, believe it or not, I was hired to play at a place called Gillies in 63. And it was Mr. Frank Sinatra. I played for Sinatra.
Francis Albert.
Francis Albert. And I was there as where I met Quincy.
Okay.
On those days I met Quincy. And I played there. So, and for that night, we got Freddie Cole and Dee Dee Bridgewater.
Oh my gosh.
Just did the Queen and Freddie, who was the brother, Nat Cole. Then I come, boy, I get out of breath.
No, just take time, man. Take time.
And then the final night of jazz is John Clayton, Jeff Hamilton, 2 young lions. I mean, not so young anymore, but we played in the 70s and made some recordings that people seem to treasure, you know, in the jazz way. And then I call it One Love Time. Sly and Robbie coming.
Oh my gosh.
Sly and Robbie coming on the 29th of February. We're going to celebrate.
Make it a date and don't be late.
Please, please. And then the following night, none other than Mr. Bombastic Shaggy coming.
Good gosh, man.
Then when Shaggy leave out of there, Bitty McLean coming.
What?
Yes.
What is this? What are you telling me, man?
I'm telling you, for me, it's a serious piece of event.
Straight out of London, England.
And then Sunday come, final night, Terrace Riley and Diana King.
Good.
So I'm proud to bring these people to a place that normally would not have had. Jamaica.
Exactly. The Blue Note is known as a legendary jazz gig. You know, I mean, some of the great jazz musicians of all time have played there, and I guess that's why you were there for 2 weeks straight.
I played for them 30 years ago when it first opened, and I just hadn't been there in about 7-8 years, 6 or 7, yeah. And this time, and I suggested this 2 weeks, you know.
That's
so anyhow.
right. But you know, a lot of people don't know how much jazz is part of the DNA of reggae, because I remember the first time I ever had the privilege to interview Cox and Dodd, and I asked him his favorite style of music. He said, "Me, he's a jazz man, you know."
Well, I tell you something. His best friend was Roland Alfonso.
Okay.
And he and Roland used to go hang out and go to the jazz events. Chris Blackwell used to come to New York in his early days and go to the Village Vanguard to see Miles Davis. Don Drummond, Roland Alfonso, Ernie Ranglin, these men just wish they could be in the room with Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker.
Wow.
This is a fact.
Wow.
But the root of Jamaica is so strong in them that might fascinate you, but you stay home in certain ways, you know. So jazz is really the thing that has taken all different music in a different direction and put some extra sweetening in it.
And you know, something that I think needs to be emphasized, and I believe you would be just the man to do that for us, is that when you talk about someone like Don Drummond, a great trombone player, but it's not just like having a session player in a band. This man was like a legendary figure in his time. I mean, everyone knew.
You know, the times back then, I was realizing it, incubated characters. Meaning that anybody picked up a horn back in the 40s and the 50s, the personality of that person would be so unique and strong. That would be the music. So you hear 2 notes of Don Drummond, right away you know it was done.
Yeah.
You heard 2 notes of Roland Alfonso, right away. You heard Miles Davis. You heard all these artists. Now what happened with the coming of all this technology? It took away something that people, young people coming up, didn't have a chance to find their fingerprint.
Their craft.
Their craft. Yes. It was more, you know, a lot of people following one another. And in those days, everybody was a character, meaning you could instantly identify them on a record. When Don Drummond blows, you know it's him.
That's right, that's right. And when I hear you interpret some of these foundation songs in a jazz style, some of my most cherished recordings of yours are where you're playing over a rhythm that we have on lots of different 45s, but you bring out the musical sophistication behind the one drop and really do it that proper justice.
But the 2 of them are part of me, you know, whether it's, you know, not being a rhythm. And I used to hear that in the early days when I saw the brothers going to worship and praise. And I heard those drums and it got down in here, you know. And I love the spirit of Jamaica. I love the mental music, you know. That was a big part of it. When you hear Bob singing, you feel that mental. When I talk to Sly Dunbar, he says, mental, man, mental. Comes from that.
Straight back to the man with the banjo sitting on the marimba. It's like an African instrument, really, isn't it? I mean, that bass box looked like a marimba from Africa, but bigger.
It's, absolutely, and it's kind of sad that it's sort of fading, because when those older masters leave us, who's going to keep it going, you know?
Well, we are in the presence of an old master, and I wonder if DJ Autograph, if you have something you can cue up out of the Monty Alexander archives here. We've been grooving your sounds from early tonight, and I know you just came off the stage at the Blue Note. You still have one more set to go. That's right.
That's right.
And so we're not going to keep you all night because the people are waiting. But you know, this is like a privilege to us. So I mean, to have Monty Alexander in the building, Kiddus sitting right here. I mean, it's just one of those special nights tonight. You can't plan these things.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna play a song right now off of the Harlem Kingston Express album.
Respect, man, respect. Thanks for playing this music, man. I appreciate it. It's my pleasure to come here. Hold this, please.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that right now. A scratch berry.
Just let you know I'm ready. Just let you know I'm ready when you need me.
Yeah, man. And just know when this street, this particular track, right? You can't play this. A scratch, don't we start playing drum together and this me. That's it. No, scratch upstairs. Right? When Lee Perry and he then back there on the wall. No, I'm telling you, this particular track. You have to bring this original, this sound. Don't make the reason go to waste. We'll take one quick picture. Kiddus, come in.
Let me get one without the flash. Flash.
Come in at this.
So you need to have respect for your building. June 6, 1944 DVD.
Alright,
Get it? Alright. Good, man. Nice camera. Good film.
That one's on the hard drive.